Okay, hello. Um, just a friendly reminder that this meeting will be recorded. And so for those that weren't able to attend, any neighbors, the recording will be posted at our engagehouston.org webpage. I will also be sharing the recording with the District B Council Office and the Super Neighborhood President, Ms. Murray. So we are going to go ahead and get started this evening. Again, my name is Valerie Luna. I am with the Houston Public Works Department, the Project Delivery Branch. I am joined tonight by my colleagues, Darren Wilson, Division Manager with the Houston Public Works, and our project manager for the Gellhorn Rehabilitation Project, Christian. I also want to go ahead and welcome representatives from the Capital Project Service Line. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And also tonight we are joined by Mary, the Chief of Staff for District B. Mary, do you want to go ahead and take a minute to tell everybody, give everyone a hello?
Yes, thank you so much, Valerie. Hi, my name is Mary Moreno. I am the Chief of Staff for Council Member Tarsha Jackson, and we represent District B, and I'm very excited to hear all about what's going on in Gellhorn, and to see how we can work together to make our neighborhoods better. So thank you so much, Valerie, for taking time for this, and to your entire team. Thank you for making time for us.
No problem. Thank you so much for being here. So we are going to go ahead and jump into the presentation. I kindly ask that everybody leave their questions to the end of the presentation. We will have a Q&A portion where I would like to encourage people to use the chat box during the presentation. And again, at the end, I will go through the chat box and read off any questions that have been submitted thus far. Okay, I will be turning off my camera so that everyone can have a good visible view of the presentation. So thank you again for joining us as we discuss this Gellhorn Drive rehabilitation update. I am the outreach coordinator. During this presentation, we will be providing an update on the construction and traffic control plan updates. Here we go, slide 2. Starting later this week, Houston Public Works will begin construction of a rehabilitation project along Gellhorn Drive. The project limits are from I-610 to I-10. The length of our rehabilitation projects are measured as lane miles, therefore per lane per mile. Our street rehabilitation initiative was created to focus on extending the life of our existing infrastructure by rehabilitating street surfaces and bringing areas of need to accessibility standards. Our goal is to provide the community with a noticeable improvement and maximize the use of our assets. In the past, the corridor has received only skin patches and maintenance repairs, which means we only restored a small area to a safe condition. We recognize that these maintenance repairs have a short lifespan, and that is why we have elevated the level of defense to what we call rehabilitation. This rehabilitation project's goal is to improve the pavement condition and our driver experience up to an estimated 5 to 8 years. During the construction phase, our contractor will be actively removing the broken concrete, and then we'll proceed with laying new asphalt. The darker shaded areas you see in the image to the left indicates where the asphalt will be placed. During the final days of our construction process, our project manager, Christian, will conduct a walkthrough with the contractor to ensure that our final product meets our city standards. We also plan to refresh the striping before leaving the area. During construction, our contractor will be implementing a 4-stage traffic control plan, starting on the northbound lane from I-10 to the railroad. Throughout each stage, traffic will be diverged to one side of the road where two-way traffic will be accommodated. Drivers will be required to reduce their speeds to 20 miles per hour in our work zones. Users of this corridor will can expect to see a variety of traffic signage as part of our traffic control plan. So please be aware and drive safely. The traffic controls will remain installed throughout the day and overnight. We anticipate each stage to take 2 to 4 weeks. But please know that this is an anticipated schedule, and so it could change depending on weather conditions and other unforeseen circumstances. So please note our example of what the traffic flow will generally look like during each stage. There may be small changes, again, to our traffic control plan and patterns throughout the project. Throughout the project. So again, please be aware of traffic control devices and signage that we will be utilizing. As part of all of our projects, our contractor will be issuing out door hangers to properties that are impacted by the project. So we encourage those who receive the door hangers or the letters in the mail to hang on to that door hanger. It'll have pertinent information about the project and contact information for the construction team. If you have any questions during our construction phase, we encourage everyone to call 311 and report any issues and to reference our project number, and you will see that to the right here, starting with the letter N as in Nancy. We also accept photos and concerns and comments via our 311 email, our engagehouston.org webpage, and also our build forward at houstontx.gov. So it's a fairly short presentation, but I just wanted to be sure that we had adequate time to answer any questions from the community and attendees, especially as it relates to the traffic control plan. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or submit a question into the chat box. We have our construction team. We even have representatives from the contractor on the line to help answer anything that might not be clear to you. We want to make sure that we have a safe area for both our worker crew, our crew, and those who utilize the corridor. So here is our first question. Thank you so much, Bridget. So the timeline could last up to 4 months. Could you clarify your question? Are you requesting to know the anticipated time frame for the entire project?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the contractor has up to 77 days to complete the project. And Christian, please feel free to correct me at any time. Or if you want to go ahead and maybe elaborate on the time frame for the entire project.
Yes, the work authorization was estimated at 77 days. There's times where it goes over due to unforeseen circumstances. If there's any specialty items that are needed or anything like that. But that's one thing that we're going to try, sticking to the schedule, weather permitting. And yeah, if there is any unforeseen circumstances, we try to communicate that as well, because that traffic control is going to rely on the time that we do the construction.
Thank you so much. When is the notice to proceed? I believe it has already been issued out. If you need the exact date, I can provide you with that at a later time. Or if Christian, if you know that off the top of your head, please feel free to chime in. What percent of
This is Darren Wilson. I'm sorry. Yeah, the work order was issued back in August, but because of the delays due to having to reroute the traffic, we have actually put it on hold. So the 77 days will actually start when they actually start construction.
Thank you. And if you want to go ahead and stay unmuted as well, we do have quite a few questions coming in now. What percent of Gellhorn is being replaced?
It is from I-10 to 610, all the way through. Well, let me put it, not every, not the whole thing. We're just doing portions of it and little panels that have to be replaced.
Do you anticipate trucks diverted to Market Street? And if so, how will this traffic be managed?
So
No, we don't. Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
So we're going to keep access on the crossovers. We're not going to do any detours. We're just going to, shift the traffic over to one side while they're working on the other. So they'll still have access to the businesses going down Gellhorn through the crossovers.
Thank you. Will the crossovers from one-way to two-way be large enough for multiple 18-wheelers to pass at the same time?
No, they will not, because of you're taking them from one way. They're going to be diverted into one lane, and then there will only be one truck taking the detour. So you will have one lane each direction on one side while construction's going on in a certain phase area.
And Bridget, I am happy to display the project number again. I'll go back to that slide. Darren, did you want to add anything to our previous question?
Yeah, I was going to say if you could go back to that slide to show that phase one, they could kind of see how that traffic. You can see there for the phase one northbound Gellhorn from I-10 to the railroad tracks. We're going to put in a temporary crossover just north of I-10. And it will be one lane in each direction there on what is currently the southbound side, all the way up to before the railroad tracks. And then they will cross back over at an existing crossover to get back on the proper side at the tracks.
Will the asphalt last as long as concrete? A lot of big trucks that are heavy drive this street regularly.
I think we discussed this in the first meeting. No, it won't last as long as the concrete. And what I think everyone needs to understand that Gellhorn is currently in design, and there is going to be a total street reconstruction of Gellhorn. This is just a rehabilitation. And we said, and I think in the first meeting is, there's different phases. You have a maintenance phase, which is what you were used to seeing as just little skim patches. This here is the next level, and we are doing a rehab. This is supposed to last about 5 years until the city comes in with its total street reconstruction project and then totally redoes the street permanently.
Yes, thank you, Darren. Yes, and just to provide some further information on that front, on that separate project, the design concept report team is working on setting up a date to come to the community and discuss those future improvements. And I believe we will be visiting with the super neighborhood. And once we fully confirm and have a notification ready to invite the public, again, we will utilize our social media platforms. We will utilize our engagehouston.org so that everyone can join that meeting and provide us with some feedback in regards to those future improvements that will provide a more longer term solution and a stronger defense compared to the rehabilitation project. Next question. How thick is the existing pavement, and will the new pavement be thicker to last longer due to all the heavy truck traffic? How will the new concrete pavement tie into the old concrete?
So we're not going back with concrete, we're going back with asphalt. You will see the difference in the concrete layer compared to the asphalt layer. Now, in regards to how thick, we really won't know how thick that concrete is until we start the removal process. But they are going back with a 4-inch layer, which is more than what they normally go back with, because normally for the surface layer of asphalt, they'll typically put 2 inches. They're going back with 2 lifts of 2 inches, making it 4-inch surface layer. And they will also be repairing the base, and if the subgrade is in bad condition, they will be also fixing the subgrade as well.
Do we have any type of warranty for the asphalt pavement?
So the contractor is held liable for they have a warranty period of a year after the project is complete.
Thank you. And Joe, and just for everybody's awareness, I did enter the project number into the chat room. So if you want to, save that message, it's there available for you in the chat room.
Valerie, I apologize that I'm driving, so I'm not able to get into the chat room, but two questions. One is that how will the lanes be designated when they're both opposite directions in the same side? What will be the way that they will be divided? Is it going to be cones, barrels, just lines painted? What's the methodology there? And then two, is any of the just groundkeeping around mowing and cutting trees back that have fallen and all of that sort of stuff, is that included in any of this rehab? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for your question. Christian?
So typically we don't mess with any trees. We do have tree protection that is put in for the contractor, but if it's not hindering any vehicles, we typically don't mess with any of the trees. In regards to what devices we're going to be using to divide traffic, we're not using the barrels, but we're not going to be using regular traffic cones. They're going to be the divider. Can't think of the proper name for it at this very moment, but
You're the channel. Sorry, Christian, this is Asya. I'm the engineer that did the traffic control plans, but it's going to be those channelized devices. They're the thinner barrels.
And then
And the reason I'm sorry, the reason I asked that question is that because there are relatively narrow lanes and there is just predominantly tractor trailer traffic, when they exit out to try to make turns both in or out, they typically swing out. And so these devices will get hit a lot. So it's just verifying what was going to be there.
Yes, and that's the reason why we're not going with the big barrels, because we do know, with those barrels being as big as they are, they will get hit, crushed, ran over, moved in front of, one of the other lanes. those channelized devices that Osio was talking about, those they get ran over a little bit, but they still, hold their position for the most part. They're easy to adjust. They are visible. They are pretty tall as well, so they are, you know, they aren't as big as the regular barrels, but they do their job.
And now, Lynn, I believe you had maybe another part to your questions in regards to the landscaping. Do you mean, is that more of a restoration question? If the medians, I guess the grass and the medians, if they were to get pulled up, is that more to what you were looking to ask?
No, it's around general upkeep. There hasn't been any maintenance done from a standpoint of mowing, or we've got broken limbs falling down from trees, things like that for years now. That just hadn't been touched in a long time. So I didn't know if that was a part of this rehab activity or not.
Yeah, no, it is not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling in. And again, no worries if you're not able to access the chat box. Again, the presentation, the recording will all be posted at our Engage Houston website, so you can check back at probably it'll be posted by the end of the week.
I want to drop back in one more time too on what the question that Lynn asked there. Valerie mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that our capital projects has joined us in, section here has joined us in. They are actually going to be handling a lot of the construction management of this project. And I will tell you that they have already raised the same concern, Lynn, that you have about delineators and keeping the traffic separated. So we're looking into that, and we're going to keep that into mind when we as the construction goes along and we see what may be needed.
Yes, we will adjust, the department will adjust as needed to make sure that we're implementing a safe zone, a safe work zone. Yes, I have a hand raised, so thank you so much. I have Joshua, feel free to unmute.
I just wanted to clarify on my previous question about the crossover from one-way to two-way. So just to elaborate more, if we're going to go and make traffic two directions on one side of Gellhorn, the medians, I'm not sure that they all have a big enough pass for an 18-wheeler to actually clear a turn to go to the opposite lane of traffic and then take the right-hand side lane on the opposite side of the road. That's why I was asking if there's going to be, maybe the medium is going to be adjusted or taken out and then put back afterwards. But if not, it's going to be pretty difficult for some of these trucks, depending on which medians are used, in order to even get to the opposite side of the road.
Yes, sir. Okay, let me elaborate on that. When we do traffic control on situations like this, the actual term when you use that is called a WB50. And there are programs that we use that actually show that what it takes for an 18-wheeler to make that type of turn or that type of detour. And yes, they are all being designed to make sure that an 18-wheeler can make these crossovers without interfering with the other direction of traffic.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for chiming in and clarifying that question. I'm sure your question, I'm sure others share it as well. Thank you.
Valerie, I know we had one question about the thickness of pavement, and Christian, if I may, I could share one page of the plans that would show that, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. Feel free to take control.
There you go. Can you see that? Yeah, okay.
It's coming
As
up.
you can see, this is just one page of the plans that were issued to the contractor, and this is showing further up on the north end there at the north loop. And you can see just some sections that we know are bad that are having to be removed and replaced. But also on there, you can see where they will saw cut the existing paving and remove the piece of paving out. They will put in a black base, as we call it, or a black subgrade, and then come back with the 2 layers of or the 4 inches of what we call a type D, what you call a driving surface. So you can see there what we're going to do. And this here again is not a permanent fix. This fix here is just supposed to last about 5 years.
And Darren, what I can do is make sure that I add that page that you just shared to the presentation before posting. So that
Sure.
way everybody can have a copy of it. Okay. Next question, how much of the concrete curb and gutter will be removed?
We don't intend on removing any of it, but if it is absolutely necessary, like the last page I showed there, it shows we're going to just repair the actual driving surface. But if for some reason when it goes to be removed, if the curb and stuff is just totally falling apart, that's fine. Then we will replace it as part of the project.
Thank you. And yes, and just to reiterate, we do have another team within our transportation and drainage operations service line that is looking over how to implement and fund future improvements for the corridor. And so we, as a department, will be coming back to the community and stakeholders to review those alternatives. How aggressive are we looking to replace the bad parts of the road? If more rehab is needed along the way, will it be added in as we go?
Absolutely. We do that all the time. We have the plans that show the planned replacement, but if we are out there and we see that there is something else that is failing, that is not shown to be done on the plans, we will do it as part of the construction while we're out there.
Next question. So the pavement will be removed and gutter saw cut, leaving a monolithic section on both sides?
Correct. That is if possible. I mean, if the contractor goes out and goes to remove the portion of paving and the curb just totally just falls apart when they're removing the paving, naturally we will have to repave it or repair the curb then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question, Tracy Stevens. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any further questions from the community or any stakeholders? Again, we are available if something comes to mind after the meeting ends. We are available and you can use this contact page to submit any questions that might come up at a later time or during construction. Okay, if there are no further questions, we can end here. I did set aside, we are available to stay on if anybody needs us to. But it is a Wednesday evening. I'm sure everyone would like to decompress from their busy days. So this will conclude our meeting if there are no further questions.
Thank you so much, Valerie.
Thank you, Mary, for joining us.
Thank you.
There is one
Thank
thing
you,
I want
guys.
to add on. I
Go
know
ahead.
that you're welcome, Lynn. This is Darren Wilson again. Sorry, but there is one thing I want to add real quick is that we did talk to the contractor today and they are ready to get started. So we may anticipating as soon as next week, them being out there and starting this construction.
Awesome. A much needed rehabilitation project. I'm sure everyone is really excited for them to get started. Thank you again to our capital projects representatives, to our contractors and our other HPW staff, and to the residents, and to and Bridget for helping me coordinate this meeting for the area. All right, guys, y'all have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.